Hello everyone. Yes, I'm using my robo voice again. That's because of this.
This is what I have to listen to in my apartment all the time.
Anyway, my point, as you may know if you've seen several of my videos, I like to think about philosophical subjects. I also like science and technology. What better way to combine them than to think about some of the implications of physics? For centuries, there was an outstanding question of whether the universe had a beginning or if it is infinite in time, and, naturally, whether it is infinite in space. Most scientists began with the assumption that the universe was infinite up until the 1930s, when George Lemaitre, who was a Catholic priest, theorized that the galaxies being measured as all moving away from our own indicated the universe was expanding. His theory was observed by Edwin Hubble, who the Hubble Space Telescope was named after, but calling the idea the Big Bang came about when Fred Hoyle mocked him in a BBC radio interview in 1949. Hoyle believed in the steady-state universe, not in an expanding universe. Now the reason this becomes important for philosophy is that if the universe is expanding, then theoretically we can wind back the processes to a time when the universe first began. This isn't possible if the universe is infinite, in either space or time, because there would be no beginning to start with. And many first resisted the idea of the Big Bang because it would provide scientific confirmation of a point when the universe came into being, which would be in line with the beliefs of creationists. Regardless, evidence certainly does seem to indicate that the universe began at some point in time. Of course, we don't know if this has been an eternal cycle, so the infinite universe may still be possible. That is, there's a Big Bang until energy runs out and gravitational forces pull everything back together in a big crunch sort of thing, followed by another Big Bang and another universe. If that is happening, then we are simply in the current iteration of an infinite line of universes proceeding after each other. But there's another theory that provides for the ability of a vast number of universes to exist right now, and that's the theory of the multiverse. This theory isn't really accurately called a theory. It's a hypothesis with no evidence, other than possibly helping to explain some quantum experiments if it happens to be true. And there are, of course, several different potential meanings of what the multiverse is. The one I will stick with here is the idea that at every single possible quantum branching of an event, a universe comes into existence that instantiates each one of those branches. This is used as a way to explain why light shows an interference pattern in a double-slit experiment, even when only single protons are released each time. For example, if every single possible path exists in some manner of speaking, then the paths interfere with each other and we get the results we'd see, which would not be possible in a Newtonian universe. Now, I don't believe the multiverse is real, nor do I believe the universe is infinite. But I want to make a quick argument that if it is true, if the universe is infinite in space, time, or its cyclical nature, or if the universe splits at every single quantum event, then science is fundamentally undermined and cannot be trusted. Why is that? Because if this is occurring, then the result is that anything that is possible is actualized somewhere. Let me say that again. Anything possible is actual. Dreams, Minecraft, luck. That happened without cheats in some iteration of the universe. A man named Jesus turning water into wine. Well, in some iteration of the universe, a man named Jesus took a jar that contained water and the atoms of water in those jars happened to perform a quantum leap to be replaced with atoms of wine. In fact, when you examine the miracles of the Bible, none of them are logically impossible. They are miracles precisely because they are improbable to occur naturally, not because they break the laws of logic. Could an eye spontaneously heal when Jesus puts mud made from his spit on it? In some universe, yes. Whatever the mechanism was that made the man blind. Maybe it was a completely mental block and the eye was never actually damaged, and the mud made him believe he could see again so his mind was fixed. Who knows? My point, though, isn't that any of the miracles talked about occurred in this manner. It's to point out the simple mathematical fact that what we know of the observable universe is finite. There aren't an infinite number of atoms around us, even though the number that are here are quite vast. If the universe exists infinitely beyond the space of what is observable to us, or if the universe is randomly generated each cycle, or if the universe splits at every quantum decision, then every version of universe, no matter how improbable, exists somewhere in actuality. Thus meaning that both what science can measure and its opposite may be observed in different universes. We live in a quantum universe because we observe a conflict between Newtonian physics and quantum physics which cannot be resolved. But there are universes out there that have always behaved according to strict Newtonian results, and someone living in such a universe would never be able to conclude that the universe is actually quantum based on that evidence. Yet, depending on how you believe these multiverses are generated, there are either an infinite number, or at least a very large number, of universes that behave in this way up to this minute, which then suddenly show quantum results completely out of the blue and destroy all of science. And there are a multitude more that do not show that breakdown until now, and many more not until now, and so on. The point is, if this is true, we have no way of knowing whether the universe actually obeys some other kind of more fundamental laws, but we happen to be in one of the instances where we haven't experienced switching out of that mode yet. Perhaps quantum mechanics exists in such a way that randomly all the stars in the sky just up and vanish. And that's typical, but we're in one version where our particular branch hasn't had it happen yet. Don't worry, it's possible that all the atoms in a star could quantum leap simultaneously in such a manner that the light vanishing would happen to reach the observers on Earth at the exact same time, and that just happened to an uncountable number of those universes just now. Perhaps we're in a universe where it will happen next week. If that is the fundamental nature of reality, then it would be foolish to live as if it were not true. But it would also be foolish to live as if it's going to happen, given how low the odds would be that we're in such a universe. But low odds only work when you have a low number of universes. On average, you need to flip a coin 2046 times to get 10 heads in a row. But if you have 2046 people flip a coin 10 times, on average one of them will have accomplished it. So if you have 1 billion people flipping a coin 10 times, there will be millions of people getting it. If we have an infinite number of people flipping coins, then no matter what sequence of heads and tails you ask for, you are guaranteed to get it. It doesn't matter how unlikely it is, because you can do it an infinite number of times, and you will find it an infinite number of times because of that. It doesn't matter that you will also fail an infinite number of times. Now, if you were basing your knowledge within the universe on the outcome of these coin flips matching a certain sequence of outcomes, how in the world can you trust those results? The same question applies to our universe. If we base our knowledge of reality upon what we see from within the universe, yet we are concluding that the universe is infinite, or indeed that every single possible branch actually exists somewhere, then we are guaranteeing that the outcomes we predict as well as the opposite of our predictions will happen. They are guaranteed, and as such, our knowledge of reality cannot tell us anything in such a scenario. Again, if we have an infinite number of universes, then anything possible is actual. And not only that, but everything possible has been actualized an infinite number of times already, with an infinite number of actualizations yet to come. With that, I hope you have a wonderful day. Not that it matters. If this is true, an infinite number of you have had a wonderful day while an infinite number of you have had a horrible day, and an infinite number of you will think it's because I wished you a wonderful day while an infinite number of you will point out that in that version of reality I wished you'd have a horrible day, and an infinite number of you will be laughing that it didn't work out the way I planned it to, but an infinite number of you will be rage quitting me, and an infinite number of you will subscribe to my channel while an infinite number of Susan Wojcicki's have banned me. So, peace.